When we say we feel love for someone, it's really, unfortunately, it's a series of biological and neurological chemicals that are being, whether they're hormones or neurotransmitters, I think all hormones, it's a series of glandular responses that your body feels. Your pupils dilate, your lips get redder and fuller, your oxytocin levels in your brain skyrocket, the serotonin levels in your chest and your stomach go through the roof, and you feel this incredible suspense of reality. It feels almost surreal when you're in love, when you feel like almost love sick or love blinded by someone.
I actually met my husband out one night at a bar.
I met mine on OkCupid.
We met freshman year.
I met Rob on Twitter.
We met through friends.
College, University of Maryland.
We met at a party.
I met my girlfriend Amy on OkCupid.
We met in high school at Bonfire. I was in my cheerleading uniform and was president of the student body. And
Diane, I was a junior in high school at the time, and Diane was a freshman that year.
Older guy.
Yes, we started dating. We went on a very awkward first date.
Very awkward first date.
And here we are, many years later.
It was a love story. It spans many continents and years, and lives lost and bloodshed.
I think it evolved pretty naturally. We didn't rush into anything. We dated, before we were almost dating 4 years before we got married, which we're not spring chickens, so that's, not crazy long, but I feel like we gave it some time.
I went to school in Michigan and Diane was at Colby in Maine. I would take a bus from Michigan to Maine, which if you've ever done that, probably not. It's like 25 hours worth of a bus trip, and when if I would do it over like a 3-day weekend, so it was like 50 hours of riding in a bus.
We became friends rather quickly. Like, we liked a lot of the same things. So there was always that connection, and then I would say he'll say it was shorter, but I'll say like in 3 months, I was like, I think I really like this guy a little bit more than just friends. And then here we are now. We just got engaged.
If you had said to me many years ago, would I have married Peter? I don't know. I mean, it wasn't like, oh, we got together and this is going to be forever. I think that we make each other laugh. I think that's the whole secret of this. And it's just kind of like the years went on, and Peter's my best friend.
When I met my husband, I just never wanted to be without him. And even when he makes me crazy, I still don't want to be without him. And I think it's just a feeling that I never had before.
Well, yeah, I am in love.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Yes.
I say it a lot.
When I first figured out that I loved him, I used the word hate. Like, I didn't want to tell him that I loved him because I was like, maybe he won't like it, maybe it'll scare him away. So I used to tell him all the time, like, I hate you. Like, I hate you because I love you. And I know it doesn't make any sense, but eventually he caught on. He was like, oh, you could just tell me you love me because I love you.
We went on one date, and it was apparent within 15 minutes that it was like, this is amazing, this is perfect, we have so much in common.
After our third date, he said, we should really take this slow. So I was like, okay, that's fine. And then he was asking, so what are you doing tomorrow? And then what are you doing the next day? And then what do you want to do this week? And I said to myself, what's he different? Didn't you just say you wanted to take this slow?
Well, years went on and we got closer. More life happened, as Diane mentioned. Lots of, you go through a lot together, and it strengthens your bond and your trust through many good times that happen, but also some really challenging times too.
Do I know? I know several people who are in love, and they're awesome. My mom being one of them. She's been in love with my stepdad, I think, for about 30 years now.
We were both extremely fortunate to have come from families with very strong relationships. My parents just celebrated their 40th anniversary. His parents just celebrated their 36th. We had grandparents who had very strong relationships, so we were very fortunate in that regard, that we had very strong role models.
My dad really loves my mom. Like, he respects her a lot.
My parents were not in love and divorced, and I just felt that I think one of the reasons why I originally hooked up with Peter also is because I was sort of looking for somebody that was, even at that age, just very steady and somebody that I could count on when I didn't feel like things at home were so great. I wanted to fall in love, and I wanted to be part of sort of an intact family. Have my own kids, have my own family, have my own special thing, because I always felt sort of just like my family was just not together, and I wanted that sort of love and everyday stability, and so I think
my parents got married when they were 24 and 25, but I think my parents were really great examples. They were great role models in that they had a real partnership. I still get a kick out of it. My parents will still like hold hands when they walk sometimes, and I think that's really cute.
You should have someone who's in your corner, right? Where no one's perfect, and if you're going through something, you need to know that you have a teammate, a partner in those instances. So, that's something I look for because of what I've seen, my mom and my brother and my sister and all those relationships. They seem to be a partnership and more than anything else,
I come from a single parent household, so marriage for me was very important because growing up I didn't have a father figure. And so I want to have kids, but I want my kids to grow up in a family with the mother and the father.
So one of the things that researchers have shown is that brains of people in early stage romantic love and brains of people who have obsessive compulsive disorder look very similar.
This is one of these things, like this is the kind of question I would say, if my girlfriend asked me this question, what's the difference between attraction, infatuation, love, I'd say that's a trap. I think, like this is not scientific, this is just my opinion, but attraction I think is like a very chemical and almost automatic reaction to something that's beautiful. Like you can be attracted to any person for any reason, regardless of sexual preference or romantic inclination. Infatuation, which is another extreme end of the spectrum where it's an obsessive attraction to something, for me at least, and that's when it's unhealthy and when the reason for the attraction is almost addictive and inexplicable. It goes beyond emotion into unreasonable lengths. Infatuation is not a healthy thing. And then love, I don't know, love is so much more complex and has so much more depth than attraction or infatuation.
I feel like attraction is different from love in that like you can't have like hour-long conversations with people if you're just attracted to them. Like you have to love them and like respect them, like be interested in what they're saying.
I feel like infatuation, like you just like, you kind of like, it's not really about the other person. It's more about your idea of the person, and love is like you love that and accept whatever person you're in love with, like no matter what, like even if you know that there's like, they're not perfect.
Physical attraction is the first thing that gets you there. You're like, this boy is kind of cute. And Peter had like long, crazy, wavy hair. And I thought, oh boy, this boy's so cute. But then I think that almost goes away in that when love takes over, you can't even look at, I feel like this with Peter and I feel like this with my children, like you can't even tell if they're good looking or not. You just love them and you know who they are. You know who they are. I mean, you're like, you don't even look at them anymore in that way. You just love them. You just love their soul. And
I think that infatuation and attraction fade. And I think that love is enduring.
Attraction is often a one-way thing. Love is a two-way street that requires two parties and a sense of shared mission or a shared purpose about what you're doing. And
I don't know if I know the answer to if marriage is the ultimate expression of love, but I think it definitely is one. And I think that everyone should have the opportunity to be able to do that.
I think it's nice for people to get married, and if you want to get married, like that definitely is an expression of love. But there are a lot of people who maybe don't want to get married. It doesn't mean that they don't love each other. Or there are a lot of people who do get married who shouldn't have gotten married and who don't love each other. And there are a lot of people who can't get married, and that doesn't mean that they don't love each other.
I don't think marriage is the ultimate expression of love. I think in our society it is the most official. It's the way that, it's the way that everyone else recognizes that you're in love.
the fact that I took your last name, and the fact that we wear rings. I don't think, again, those are kind of superficial things, but it's the way the rest of the world identifies us as a couple that's in love.
That there's all kinds of relationships that are the ultimate expression of love. I don't think you have to be married to define yourself in a loving relationship.
I don't think so. I think for us it's about, it makes us whole, but I don't think that if you are madly in love, you need to be married.
You can love someone to the moon and back, right? And not be married to them. Marriage is a personal preference. Like I could love him for forever and we didn't have to get married.
I think you should love as many people as possible. Life is short. You know, a lot of people on this planet, and you can learn so much from so many different people, right?
It made the tough things that we had to endure easier, for me at least, because you have someone to go through it with.
I think that our love will last for forever. I think that's why we've waited so long to actually get engaged, because we do believe in, if we're going to get married, it's a one-time thing, and I want it to be with the right person. So I want our love to last forever.
We've been through quite a lot together, and sometimes it's very, very challenging. And honestly, it's not always easy. I mean, there have definitely been challenges in our marriage where we've thought maybe we could split up, but then we stick through it, and it only makes you stronger when you stay together.
I would say it's a shaky road that ends up in a good place, because that's exactly what it has been. It's always been a shaky road with us.
We met when we were very young teenagers.
Yeah.
You're still developing, you're still growing, you're still figuring out who you are. So to do that with another person is challenging, but we endured it. So yes, love can endure.
If you think about the person you are now in high school and the person that you are in your 40s, you're an entirely different person, and that with that growing comes a lot of challenges.
When I talked to my mom and dad, who've been married for almost 40 years now, that's the one thing they taught me, was always be able to write a new chapter of the story together and to discover something new about each other and be open to what the other person brings to your relationship. So you can always be changing and always be reinventing, or else you'll get bored, and that's sort of a toxic thing in a relationship.
As I've gotten to understand myself better and what I can do on my own and what I want to do with somebody else, that's when I learned to be a stronger partner.
I don't think love evolves as its own separate entity. I think people evolve, right? And so you get better as a person, and a byproduct of that is that you can kind of attract better people, and then the type of love, or how strong that love is, then evolves accordingly, right? If you are if you're working on yourself constantly, then the people that you find and the types of love and those interactions are going to be different, and so the more you grow and the more you seek out people that are growing at the same rate as you are, I think it allows for kind of a magnetic attraction that naturally kind of strengthens over time.
Like, in the beginning of a relationship, the love is a lot more sort of new and exciting, and then you're in it for a while and it becomes stale and old. No, but it becomes different. It evolves. It changes, and I, hopefully for most people, I think it just sticks around forever.
I hope so.
Yeah. The flame of love kind of sputters out over, they say, 30 years or so, and that's kind of when divorces kind of tick up again. And really, your spouse is your lifetime best friend. That's your partner in life that you do things with. And I think that's when that flame of love burns out, that's, I guess, the way to look at a marriage or a long-term relationship.
I think love can last forever. I think it changes, but I also think you have to work at it. I think that there's no right answer. It's just what works for people. I think people who've been married 10 years or 20 years, or people who fall in and out of love, like, that happens. Life happens. Life is complicated, but I do think that if you work at it, it is possible for love to last forever.
What makes us so attached today is probably not going to be the same thing that keeps us close in 20 years from now.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I think neither one of us ever thought that we would be sitting here
No, I keep saying
today,
that. I know.
still a couple back then.
No.
I mean, I thought I'm sure we both thought that we would go to college and it would just fade away.
Yeah.
But it never did.
No.
2 words I would use to describe love are acceptance and patience.
Security and fun.
Fun.
Equals life.
I think that love is honesty and integrity.
I think that love is compassion and laughing.
Passion. And
I
yearning.
would say passion and laughter.
Majestic and complicated.
Commitment and patience.
Love is unpredictable.